As America celebrates her 250th birthday this year, KTBS 3 taking a look back at how the Arklatex helped to shape America's history. This week in 1864, Northwest Louisiana became the focus of a bold Union operation with major battles at Mansfield and Pleasant Hill. The Red River Campaign, forever changing the shape of this region in the course of the Civil War in the West. Madison Edwards taking us on a history lesson tonight.
The Battle of Pleasant Hill took place on April 9, 1864, in present-day DeSoto and Sabine parishes. The battle formed part of the Red River Campaign during the Civil War, when Union forces were attempting to occupy, at that time, the capital of Louisiana, Shreveport.
It was a strategical play by the Union to try to capture Shreveport, capture Cotton. There's a whole bunch of politics at play, of course, but Cotton was at the center of that, the capture and procurement of it.
The battle came just one day after the Battle of Mansfield, where Confederate forces won a major victory.
The Confederate forces under General Richard Taylor, who had won the Battle of Mansfield, then is going to try to trap the Union forces at Pleasant Hill.
Following the defeat at Mansfield and Wilson's Farm, Union troops led by Nathaniel P. Banks retreated overnight and regrouped at Pleasant Hill. The road between the two battle sites was chaotic, scattered with burning wagons, abandoned equipment, and wounded soldiers.
When Richard Taylor, the Louisiana general, attacked the head of the Union column at Mansfield, they mauled them because it was infantry and artillery versus cavalry.
One of the things that the Union lost, which was really important, is they lost 264 of their 300 wagons, and they were filled with all the stuff that an army needs: guns, ammunition, blankets, medical supplies. Richard Taylor said in his memoirs that those wagons supplied my army until the end of the war.
On the afternoon of April 9th, Confederate troops attacked Union lines. The attack pushed Union soldiers back at first, but their forces regrouped and eventually forced Confederates to retreat after 2 hours of heavy fighting. Both sides suffered many casualties during the battle.
Richard Taylor was able to engage almost all of the men he had available to him, about 9,000, where on the Union side they were only able to get, because of the way that they were deployed up that road, maybe half of that, maybe 5,000, 6,000 at the very most.
At the time, Pleasant Hill was a small, affluent village that hosted 2 colleges.
That Union Army coming in and invading changed the landscape in the history of our area for forever.
Literally every house that could have space in it was where wounded were kept, and sometimes surgeries were done in them.
That Pleasant Hill never recovered from the battle. A 72-hour period changed the course of history for that small town and the entire region of Northwest Louisiana.
The battle prolonged the Civil War for another year, since some Union troops involved in the Red River Campaign would later march to the sea and burn Atlanta.
General Sherman had a bunch of troops that were here for the Red River Campaign, and he had to wait for them to get back to him so that he could pretty much enact the Atlanta Campaign, which ultimately was one of the factors that led to the end of the Civil War.
Even though the Union Army held the battlefield at the end of the fight, General Banks decided to retreat the next morning because of supply problems and a long distance from their main base in Alexandria. This retreat meant the Union abandoned its plans to capture Shreveport.
Shreveport called itself the Queen City of the Southwest. Even though the South lost the war, the only Confederate army that was undefeated in the entire war was the Army of the Trans-Mississippi. And guess where they were based? Shreveport.
The Battle of Pleasant Hill was the largest Civil War battle fought west of the Mississippi River. Officially, the battle is considered a Union victory because Confederate forces were forced to leave the battlefield. However, historians have long debated who truly won the battle. Today, the legacy of the battle lives on through reenactments held on the same ground where the fighting took place, educating new generations about a defining moment in American history.
Part that we have the reenactment on is just a small portion of the battlefield. Everything that you can see with your eye was part of the battlefield originally. It's very personal to me, as well as several other people that help with our event, because it's more to us than just an event. It's really a part of our story personally.
Madison Edwards, KTBS 3 News.
A piece of Louisiana Civil War history was recently recognized. The Sons of Union Veterans of the Civil War dedicating a marker honoring Union Army units that fought in the battle. 3 days of reenactments and activities are planned to mark the anniversary, starting on Friday from 10 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon, Saturday from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m., and then Sunday from 10 a.m. until 2. Admission is just $5. Children get in for free, and parking is free.